Piston structure downflow softener valve.
这是40吨每小时和50吨每小时的控制阀 F112A、F96A， 它们采用陶瓷单面密封分配阀和4种3动活塞阀的结构，利用水压原理推动活塞开启或关闭，实现软化阀所需的运行、反洗、吸盐慢洗、补水、正洗5个功能。配套采用球阀，控制吸盐和补水，自带增压泵，确保低压条件下正常运行。运行的同时向盐箱补水，缩短再生周期。
During the service of F112A and F96A, a small portion of the raw water passes through the distribution valve and enters the 4 sets of 3-way piston valves, pushing the pistons to move and change the flow channel. The raw water enters piston A through the inlet, travels through the top of the main valve and the top strainer into the tank, passing through the resin layer from top to bottom to become softened water. It then goes through the bottom strainer, 3-way valve C, and flows out through the outlet. When the service reaches the setting time or the flow rate drops to 0, the backwash process begins. Raw water enters 3-way valve A through the inlet, passes through 3-way valve B, and enters the bottom part of the tank. Entering the tank through the bottom strainer, the water flow loosens the resin layer, and broken resin and trapped contaminants are expelled through 3-way valve D and out the drain. After backwash, the system enters the brine and slow rinse phase. The brine draw ball valve opens, and raw water enters 3-way valve A through the inlet, then into 3-way valve B and the injector, quickly flowing towards the nozzle to create a vacuum that draws brine water into the tank. The brine water flows down through the resin layer, passes through the bottom strainer, and returns to 3-way valves C and D, then drains out. Once brine and slow rinse are completed, the program controls the brine draw ball valve to close, entering the slow rinse state. After the slow rinse, the system enters the fast rinse phase. Raw water enters 3-way valve A through the inlet, passes through the top strainer into the tank, and flushes out the remaining brine water through the bottom strainer, returning to 3-way valves C and D, and draining out through the drain. After the fast rinse, the system enters the brine refill phase. Most of the raw water enters 3-way valve A through the inlet, travels through the top of the main valve and the top strainer into the tank, and passes downward through the resin layer to become softened water, then returns to 3-way valve C and flows out through the outlet. A small portion of the raw water is injected into the brine tank through the injector nozzle outlet and the brine ball valve. Once the brine refill is complete, the system returns to service. F112A and F96A can be selected as time type or meter type, with RS-485 communication port, which can be connected to PLC or computer for remote control, with signal output port and remote control port. These port applications are detailed in the introduction of automatic control valve port applications. This is an application case of F112A control valve in the rural drinking water renovation equipment of a company in Dongguan. And the 129 cubic meter per hour softened water and deoxygenation system of a company in Shenyang.